In this video, I'm going to be breaking down my trades from this week and talking through the funding account challenge that I just passed. After you've watched today's video, head over to the first link in the description and join my free trading course. It's a 13-part video series covering 10 different topics, and it's going to show you why you're not winning at trading and how to turn your results around. It's very easy to sign up. Drop your details in here and you'll get that mailed directly to you. So I hope you enjoy that, but first of all, watch this video because there's a lot of value in here. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down some trades. Next week, I will be bringing an educational video on a new topic, like some of the previous ones we've done. But for now, we've had a very good week, a very slow week as well, so I have a few talking points, and I also just today passed the first phase of a Trader Central Fund funding evaluation challenge. So closing the week with 3 wins and no losses, a very good sight to see. I actually have only had 1 losing trade sent out to the group this month, or this year so far. That was last week on Friday. So far, we're looking at around 18 to 19 are sent out to that group. So I'm going to break some of the trades down now, starting with today's position, which was a GBPUSD short. So this trade, similar to a video I made a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so now, was a sweep of the Asia liquidity, okay? We formed the Asia range. This is the night time for me, right? You can see the timing around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It closes up at 7 a.m. UK time. When that session closes up, we have an Asia high and we have an Asia session low. Now, what we can do is mark these out, and thanks to strategies like the London breakout strategy, which is a basic retail strategy that's quite popular, where a trader will place buy limits and sell limits either side of the range, there's a lot of liquidity. There are a lot of orders either side of the Asia session range, right? And because we understand how liquidity works and order flow, basically we're going to go and collect the orders and then move to collect the next orders. What we see a lot of the time, very, very often actually, is price sweep out the high and sweep out the low of the market. So what we did here was wait for a push up out of the range to sweep that high, and then when the market pulled back into the range, as we can see here, and showed some significant structure breaks, being mostly this level here broken down with this lower low, we can then go ahead and place orders on the supply areas to sell into the market. So this position, I placed a sell limit on this level here, which is the 1 minute supply zone there, just after this break of structure. The market came up, tapped in, pushed a little bit higher, but didn't break this high, which obviously is the high point of the supply zone. So my stop was just around there. And then it did begin to sell off. So this was very good to see. We came back, played around break even a little bit, and then the market sold off dramatically and ran all the way to target 6.1R. Okay. Now this trade I closed early because this was the trade that finished my funding challenge. I did hold it out a little bit longer on a personal account and also on the $200,000 My Forex Funds challenge that I'm currently doing as well. There'll be updates on that in a week or so when that is done. But I did close this one early over on my Trader Central Fund. But as you can see, the market made a run all the way to the target. And as I just mentioned, we've now collected the orders here. And you can quickly see the market beginning to push back into the range. So this is a very simple system where I'm looking for the high and the low of the Asia session range to be taken out consecutively, which provides us with very good sell trades to the low or buy trades to the high. Okay, and this is an almost daily thing, a very, very nice way to trade. So that was the first trade, and that is a 6.1R position. Very easy work, very simple and systematic. Many of my members also took this with me as well. We all trade the same system, which is taught in a step-by-step process. So we all got on this. But that is how I found that trade, and that is how I executed it. Wait for the sweep. Wait for the break down there to form a lower low and shift the structure, and then sell in using supply and just target the low of the range. So the second trade, the trade I took yesterday, was GBPUSD. This was also a purely low time frame position, and this was a 5R move. So I sent this one out as well. I send out pretty much every trade that I do take to my community, and this was a nice 5R runner down into the Asia low once again. Okay, so very clear. We can see here the high of the Asia range has been taken out. This was not so much an Asia range based trade. This was just pure low time frame price action. We saw a large impulse, then the market started stalling out. We had something that we see very, very often, which is the formation here of these higher highs. And then we started breaking down into a lower low. Then we broke down to a new lower low and a new lower low with large impulses here. Left open this imbalance, and then we actually looked for a short. Now, my execution on this one was a little bit worse than it could have been. As you can see here, this is the zone that formed the big reaction. I could have got a better entry had I entered up there. Would have significantly improved the risk reward, but obviously I didn't do that, so it is what it is. The execution that I took was actually from this area. Now, if I go to the 1 minute time frame, I'll show you what it is that got me into this position. So when I was looking at this trade, I was looking towards this supply zone just here, being the extreme zone here at the top of the move. So I was looking towards here for a reaction. And what we did here was come trade into that level, retest it very nicely, and then we had a large impulsive sell-off. So if we just remove that for a second, what we then were provided with on this trade was a breakdown. Okay, so we had once again the same thing happening, higher highs and higher lows, breaking down into a nice impulsive lower low. So at this point, I want to place my order onto the market. And I actually want to place my order here. This, I believe, is a refined 30-second supply, but really we can just work with the 1 minute. I actually placed my order on here in the middle of that zone because of how impulsive this was pushing back up. And because of the impulse here and because of the open zone that we have up here as well, I did opt to put my stop over this level. So that is what cut down the risk reward. And on reflection, maybe I could have actually placed my order here in the high point and I would have got better risk reward than I did. But at the end of the day, the trade was secured. A nice little 5R gain right there. And after a little bit of messing around, we did get the sell-off. So we entered there, stops were over the high, and we pulled all the way down and came through that target pretty quickly. So that was a very nice trade as well. And that was yesterday's position. Now, the 2 days before that, Wednesday and Tuesday, I executed no positions. We can see here the sweeps of the range did actually come through, but we didn't really get any opportunity to enter because by the time our entries were given, the market had moved too far. This one as well, I didn't really feel comfortable buying into because we were sitting in a supply zone. It was also the same on Euro USD. And also the day before that as well, I didn't get a position because I didn't want to sell against this strength. The day before that, GBPUSD was executed, and this was a nice little winner for 4R as well. This was a very small trade actually taken here on GU. I closed it early. I didn't go for the full movement, and it was simply a move from here up to here. So if we go down to the low time frames, I will break down the process behind this trade as well. We can see here the Asia high had been taken out. The Asia low had been first of all swept, then we had a large drive up. Now that didn't provide me with an entry, okay, this initial push. I think a few of my students got entries in down here using very low time frame 1 minute stuff, so that was very, very good, but I missed that one personally. What I did look for, however, was a continuation move. The reason I went for a continuation is because if we see here, the candle had pushed up here and it formed a breaker structure, right? If we go to the 4-hour time frame, this basically showed me that this high was now broken because we can see that this high is also indeed included in that breaker structure. And this opened the doors to me to some of this supply, right? We have imbalance here into a supply. I expected the market to continue pushing up and trade into that supply zone. Now, obviously that didn't happen as we can see, but I noticed that when we were in the position and decided to jump out early. So the entry for this move was obviously a continuation. We'd seen the break here. When the market pulled back down, I used the extreme zone, which was this zone here. Extreme is basically the furthest zone, the final zone before invalidation. So I used this zone for my entry. My stop was underneath this wick as well. And I actually was going for quite a large position into the 4-hour area. But when I ended up closing it, which was around this level here, I actually closed up for around 4R. Okay, I think it was about 4.12R. I closed up somewhere within this range here. And the reason that I closed it early is because we saw this supply zone react. We saw the market started selling off. So I hopped out there. So obviously I didn't close on the way up, but I closed on the way back down. And one of the biggest leading indicators for this was, if we look at some of the higher time frames, the fact that that break of structure we saw on the low time frame looked very much like a liquidity sweep on the higher time frames. Okay. So initially, I was seeing a break of structure here, which on the 5 minute and 1 minute looks very clear because these are closures. But when I came over to the 15 and 30, just to make sure the high time frames aligned with the position I was trying to get, I could see here that we had a lot of what looks like equal highs. So we can see here a roof of equal highs in the market. That tells me there's going to be a lot of liquidity above that level. And then also seeing the equal highs swept out and then a big sell-off back down, that showed me that this was probably a bearish move, right? This was probably the market collecting these orders and taking out this liquidity before moving lower. And as you will see, that is what happened. So I noticed this and I decided, all right, we've hit supply. We're starting to sell off again. The best thing I can do here is just get out of the move. And I got out for 4R on that one, which was obviously a very nice move anyway, even though I didn't manage to follow it all the way through to targets. So there was also one other position on Euro USD, which was a break even. Very fortunate to have taken no losses this week. I've sat on the sidelines, been very patient with the positions. The move I took on Euro was actually a buy from this point here. Same thing happened with GBPUSD where we started to react from some supply zones and we weren't seeing the impulses to the upside here. So I actually ended up closing this one just above break even for a very tiny, essentially non-existent profit. But fortunately, I avoided a loss on that one, and that one paired with the GU for the day, 0.5% risk, 2% done on the Monday, and then I've had those two other winners later in the week. So here is the login to the Trader Central Fund portfolio. This is the challenge that I just did for phase 1. I traded the very minimum of 10 days. My maximum loss was $458 and my profit was $4,069. So you can see there, my max loss was under 1% on the $50,000 account, and my profit target is just over 8%, which I've completed in 10 days without even drawing down a single percentage point overall. And you can see the only pairs I've traded here are Euro USD and GBPUSD. So these are my two primary trading pairs. This is essentially all I trade nowadays on the intraday and swing perspective. And just wanted to show you this so that you can see that it's possible. If you follow a system and you don't need a lot of trades to actually pass, you don't need to go crazy with the risk to pass, as you can see, not even 1% down. And you don't need loads of trading pairs. It's good to stay refined and specialize on a couple of pairs, in my opinion, so that you can then build your skill base around those. So I'm waiting for the phase 2 login now. I should get that very soon, and when I do, I will do another update when that is completed. And I also have a $200,000 MyForex Funds account at 5.5% profit so far. So there may be a further update video next week on the passing of that. The real taking point from this video, along with the technicals I've showed you, is that all you need to do to succeed at trading is to build a system or learn a system, a step-by-step approach to the market, and repeat it day in and day out on a couple of trading pairs. If you do this and you take a quality over quantity approach, don't force trades, don't take loads of setups, one a day is all you need, sometimes not even one every single day, you can bring good results, good enough to pass funding challenges and good enough to make healthy profits. I'm 2 weeks into this challenge and I've made 8%. You can imagine the possibilities of that on your own accounts and for yourself if you could achieve a funded account and achieve making between 5 and 10% per month on that account with very low risk. Trading is heavily overcomplicated and it can seem like a very difficult thing to do. But trust me, build a system, specialize on a couple of pairs, and learn the mindset to stay disciplined and stay out of the markets when the opportunities aren't ripe, and you will do very, very well. If your goal for 2022 is to get funded, then come along to my trading academy. There is a link in the description for that. This week alone, there have been 3 students passing phase 1 challenges, and we have racked up near to $1 million in secured funding since the start of November. So if you do that, I look forward to working with you and seeing you progress. And if not, I just hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy all of the other free content that I put out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.